Hey, good morning, everyone. So I was just leaving the store this morning and I experienced something that kind of sparked this thought. I want to share real quick. So each and every one of us, we're all made up of energy. There is energy vibrating inside of us. And so there's also ways that we think and we experience life as far as how we see things, our consciousness. Not to get into all of that so deeply because there's so much to it all, spiritually, scientifically, however you want to look at it. But I just want to focus on the very lowest level of consciousness, or how we are as a person energetically. The very lowest level is it causes us, the way that we see, the way that we vibrate, the way that our energy is being used inside of our body. The very, very lowest level is apathy. And so because we see things a certain way, because we vibrate a certain way, we are very apathetic. Or another way to say it is, we are in this victim mode, this victim mentality. So I saw something today and I said to myself, wow, that person, you can just tell their energy, they're at a very, very low level of energy. And so because they vibrate, because their energy is that way, they're going to be very apathetic. They're going to have this victim mentality. And when you start seeing the world through levels of energy and levels of consciousness, you could also look at it through human development and how we progress. There's this whole study on spiral dynamics and how we progress, even developmentally. It all kind of meshes together. But I just want to say this: if you find yourself with this victim mentality, often people who have this victim mentality, who have this very low level of consciousness, they don't really know it, and they rely on the fact that they have this low level of consciousness. They rely on that so that they don't have to progress. They use that as a way to stay in that place of apathy. They use that in a way where they can stay in this victim mode because it's comfortable to them. So I saw something today. I'm not going to say exactly what it is, but I've seen other people with the same experience view it in a totally different way, and their life is actually totally different from the same person. Could have the same experience, the same, let's just, for lack of a better terms, let's just use a disability. Let's just say someone, I don't know, someone lost their leg, right? So you can see one person that lost their leg, or whatever disability that may be, have a totally different experience than somebody else. You see those bodybuilders, or you see someone on the pull-up bars in a wheelchair, and their mentality is, you know what, I'm not going to be a victim. Their energy is flowing at a different type of a capacity than someone that's going to be in a wheelchair, in this victim mode. And I'm not, please don't get me wrong, that's hard. I don't know what I would do if I lost a leg or a limb, or I had some sort of crazy disability. But I'm just trying to show you that the way our consciousness and the way that we think and how we utilize our energy is flowing through us 100% of the time, every single day. Where that energy is being directed and how we're using that energy through the way that we think and through our levels of consciousness, that is the takeaway. That is the key. So you can literally create the life that you want. You can literally create your experience by, one, how you're seeing things, and two, how your experience is causing the energy in your body to flow. So in the very, very low levels of energy, that's catabolic energy. That's very, very negative energy. So there's actually, from what I've studied, there's 7 levels of energy. I'm not going to get into all of them, but the first level is apathy. It's victim mentality. The second level is actually anger. If you can move from being apathetic and being a victim to actually getting angry about the situation you're in, you've actually just moved energetically up 1 level. And so the first 3 levels are catabolic. It's very, very negative. Health is affected in someone's body that is catabolic. When you go from when you go up from the 3rd level up to the other 7 levels, you move from this catabolic place to an anabolic place where it's good energy, where disease can't live in someone's body that is anabolic. So the majority of the world lives at a very, very low level of energy, or a very, very low level of consciousness. It's very catabolic. It's very, very negative. That's why we see wars right now. That's why we see the world in the condition it's in. Imagine we can shift the energy level of the world, one person at a time. Imagine we can transform our consciousness and the way that we view the world, and we can move up the levels of energy, or the levels of consciousness. I'm using these words interchangeably. Imagine we can do that in our own lives and show other people how. Now, there's many ways to do it, but it takes focus. It takes awareness. It takes metacognition. It takes being able to think about what you're thinking about. It takes someone learning how to become aware of the voices and the stories that are going on inside of themselves that cause them to stay in a very victim place. You see, because most people who are in that low level of energy, they think that victim mentality is actually serving them. They think that if they stay in that victim mode, if they stay in that place, that it's going to serve them and they're not going to have to do the hard work of change. And that's built into someone's makeup. It's built into their DNA. It's built into the culture that they were brought up in. But people can break out of that culture. People can break out of that mindset. People can break out of that low level of thinking, that low level of consciousness. So, you go from level 1 of being this victim, but then you start getting angry and say, you know what? I don't want to live in this place anymore. I don't want to think like this anymore. I don't want to be like this anymore. And then you move up to, let's just say, level 3, where you're taking responsibility for your own life. It's that place of responsibility. You're going to be responsible for your own life. You're going to be responsible for your own actions. Well, you moved out of anger and into this place of responsibility, and you just moved into an anabolic place where it's not negative. You're no longer a negative person. And I can tell you firsthand, anything good that has ever come to my life has been because I stepped out of negativity, and I intentionally chose to see things in a positive way. Some of you right now are stuck in a very, very low level, and I've been there. And my energy can fluctuate from a low level to a high level, unless I'm aware of it. But there are some of you right now that are stuck in a very low level of consciousness. You see things in a very catabolic, negative way. And if you were able to just shift your perspective a little bit and step into positivity and step into a higher level of energy, 1, you'll feel it in your body. And 2, you will experience it in your life. If you're living at a high level, That's where creativity takes place. That's where you're able to create the life that you want. That's where you're able to manifest things when you want to manifest them. That's some of the higher level stuff. I'm not going to get into that right now. But for today, the thought that I wanted to share is, if you find yourself in this victim mentality, if you find yourself in this place of anger, there are ways that you can shift that. One of the things that I would have you focus on is being grateful. Just focus every single day on a few things that you're grateful for. Don't allow yourself to be the victim, because the truth is there are people in worse situations than you are. I know someone that was actually working with the urban poor, and he had this crazy revelation that the way to get poor people out of this place of poverty, this poverty mindset, was to show them and to help them help other people that were in worse situations than they were. And so he worked with the urban poor for like 10 years, and his success rate with helping people, first of all, out of a poverty mindset, and then physically out of a place of poverty, was to get them to, number one, be grateful and think about the fact that there are people that are in worse situations than they are. And two, to then help those people, help those other people who are in worse situations than they were, to get out of that place. So what can you do today? So be grateful for the for the things that you do have. Don't always focus on, I should have this, and why don't I have this, and I want more of this. Focus on what you do have, but begin to tell a different story. Begin to tell a story not of what you wish you had, but of how good it feels when you are going to get that. Change the story. Don't look at the story that you currently have as how it is. Look at it and think about it and dwell on it in terms of how you want it to be. Man, it feels so good that I have a job that I really love. Maybe you don't necessarily have that job right now, but you're never going to get out of that place unless you start transforming and shifting little shifts the way that you want to see things. And it's not really that hard to do when you think of it too broadly, and you're thinking that it's not realistic, or you're not able to actually see that thing. Maybe you hate the job that you're in right now, but you want to be a millionaire. That's a hard gap to close. But maybe you hate the job that you're in right now, but you can get excited about the fact that that job, you're not going to have that job forever. And you do have the ability to step out of that place and step into a job that you do love. Possibility is everywhere. But if you're like, oh, poor me, I'm going to have to work this job for the rest of my life for peanuts, and that's your story. I hate what I do. I'm never going to get ahead. The rich get richer, the poor get poorer, and you have this negative mentality, victim, anger. Anger is better than victim, but you're still in this angry place. You could step out of that by taking responsibility and saying, you know what, when I get home from my job, even though I busted my ass all day and I worked really, really hard, I'm going to spend 2 hours today, this evening, learning a different skill in the area of my career that I would really love to do. And you switched your story, and your story was followed by execution and responsibility. And you really took responsibility for that. You really owned that. I guarantee your life can change. So anyway, it's all a matter of perspective. It's all a matter of your consciousness and how your energy is being used. And you can tell when you go and you shift from different levels of energy, your body changes. You have more energy to do the things that you want to do. I can tell you firsthand, you'll want to get up in the morning. You will be excited to get up and go after your day, even though your situation isn't ideal. But you can begin to create all that. Anyway, hope this helped. Hope you guys have a great day. That's it. Peace.